Hi, everyone. Thanks for the energizer. I hope I can have a awake audience thanks to that. So I run a design consulting business. It's called Monsoon Fish. I am not an agile coach or a business agility person like most of you are. So forgive me if I, you know, say something wrong about agility, right? So when I was looking at agility, when I was looking at what is happening, and especially in the world of design as well, the world has never changed so fast, and it'll never change as slow as it is changing right now. So what is happening is that there's huge amounts and of change that we see year on year, not only in the tech space, but also in all kinds of other spheres. Like the customer is changing faster than ever. The competition is changing faster than ever. And this is happening everywhere. The way HR works, the way talent works is changing faster than ever, and it'll keep changing even faster. And the speed of change demands new ways for running businesses, and which is where I think that business agility is becoming an imperative. So a question to all of y'all. What was the whale before it was a whale? Does anyone know? Whale. A whale was a fox, actually. And it took the fox close to 1,000,000 years to become a whale. And you can still see some remnants of the fox inside the whale. But the fox wouldn't have survived if it didn't learn how to swim, if it didn't learn how to go deeper, if it didn't learn how to go, have bigger lungs and stay underwater for longer amounts of time, because dinosaurs were evolving and they were eating all smaller terrestrial animals. So it was very important for the fox to change, or it would have died. And worse, now businesses need to change, or they will become irrelevant. Like the examples Rishi was giving, right? Nokia has become irrelevant. They tried to change, but it was too little too late. So I just want to spend some minutes on this slide on what kind of change is the change that we're looking at. So on the left, you have how, let's say, traditional businesses work, how traditional business models or offices, smaller or larger, have been working, and how the new business has to work. So they need to move from control to purpose. And this is a lot to do with how we are motivating and controlling our talent, right? So, and what organizations have been doing from the Industrial Revolution time is timing their talent, seeing that you're in at 9, you don't go out before 6:30, put your punch cards in place, have several metrics that will ensure that the talent puts in the labor that it is supposed to. However, they were lacking a lot of purpose. And in the Industrial Revolution time, they probably needed that. The worker at Ford didn't need to know that I'm going to improve lives of people. He just wanted to fix a few hundred nuts every day so that he could feed his family. But that's not how the worker thinks today. We are not at such basics of living. So we need to drive people by purpose and not by control. We're out of that stage. The second change that we're looking at is moving from value capture to creating value. So a lot of businesses worked on capturing information or having access to certain markets or having access to certain goods. And they would use that access, they would capture that value and earn money, right? So look at a lot of traditional trading businesses who would earn money like that, right? Something that has happened to the ticketing industry. It has become so open and transparent that now you can see a Clear Trip, you can see an Uber trying to create value rather than just capturing the information that they had and distributing it. Moving from repetition to innovation. So businesses would say that if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to make money. I'm going to keep making money. I don't want to change. But that has to now change because Again, the world has become open and transparent. Everybody knows how everybody else is making money. For instance, 50 years ago, you didn't know, let's say, how a steel mill made margins, whether it was, in the ore, or it was in re-rolling, or it was in, refining of the steel. But now it's all open. So you have to innovate. Moving from competition to collaboration, you see a lot of people, trying to get together. And when they're getting together as businesses, they are creating more value for each one of them. And from preservation to evolution. So you don't need to preserve old processes, old ways of doing things, but we need to evolve and adapt to a changing world. So I think this is the kind of change we as designers would like to see with companies and clients that we work with. It becomes a more innovative business in general. So when I'm talking about design thinking and business agility, what I'm looking at is that if businesses are able to adopt quickly and efficiently to contextual changes, then and only then can they survive. And this change would require empathy towards not only your customer, your end client, your end users, but also internal people across departments, your colleagues, etc. And some amount of lateral thinking, which is imagination and creativity. And what I'm going to do today is I'm going to touch upon 6 mindsets of design thinking that will help make a business agile. In no way is this all-encompassing, or it's not a definition of design thinking or a prescription, but it's just 6 mindsets, and I'm going to take you through the few stories which will really represent them. So this is what design thinking is for us. It lies in the center of market desirability, business viability, and technologically feasible products and services. So the first story is about this product that we were working on. And the product was essentially a booking product. It's a Bombay-based startup where they were looking to sell inventories of fitness-based destinations. So you have swimming pools, badminton courts, football grounds, futsal grounds. And they were planning to integrate this and create a booking system around it. And they did that. They also included society gymnasiums, society swimming pools, badminton courts that are available in housing complexes, etc. They created an inventory, and they were trying to sell that. And when they came to us, said that, it's not working. We are gaining users through our marketing, and the users are not sticking around. So what we tried to do was we went and checked with users what they're really looking at when they want to become fit. And we learned that fitness was not about booking courts and deciding to go for a swim. It was about habits. So we transformed their entire application to a fitness coach application, which would create fitness habits for the user. And through those habits, we started cross-selling fitness products. So fitness is not just about exercising, right? It is also about having the right food, having the right meal, and trying to create all of that as good habits. So it became a habit creation platform. And to create that habit, then we had sales opportunities within those habits. So that's one of the stories where I thought we delivered a lot of value through focusing on the user and saying that what is the value that this user who's looking for fitness really looking at, right? So they're not looking at a solution which helps you book badminton courts, but they are looking at something that is more personal to them, something that is, they can see themselves changing through the product, and only then would adoption happen. So that was what we did in that case study. So we constantly encourage our people to put themselves in the shoes of the customer, and if not, go and talk to those customers and really understand the core value that that user is looking at. This is the second mindset that I'm going to talk about is show and don't tell. So a lot of us really, end up talking about what we do to our customers or to product owners, and very little about showing them what is happening. So in this one project, what we did was we developed very quickly, and in design terms, quickly means on a daily basis. So every day, 4 o'clock kind of a cycle we had for about 10 days, where we kept showing, where we kept meeting people and bringing them together. So we worked with, game designers, psychologists, behavioral economists, graphic designers, patent writers, doctors, and product designers to come up with a kind of solution. And the problem was really, there is a lot of counterfeit medicine out there in the market. And we were trying to solve the problem of supply of counterfeit medicine consumption and even recommendation of counterfeit medicine. And this was not possible to do, this system was not possible to evolve from within an office with only designers or management people sitting together. So we had to collaborate with people from the pharma industry, from the medicine and the healthcare industry, which was doctors, people from pharmacies and designers. And we were able to evolve a system which could not only derive from all of these inputs, but also pay back to each of those systems. So the system could pay back to the healthcare system, could pay back to the patient, could pay back to the pharma, could also pay back to the insurance and to the hospital system, and only then would it really work. And for us to have that kind of understanding of all these systems required us to get these people together in a room and work at it. So this is the third story, and here, essentially, what we started doing was showing people, what they're going to get. And at the dinner yesterday, I was talking about this application. So this application was, again, a booking application, like a booking.com, where you could, book hotels. And we went and asked people, how do you plan for your vacations? And most of our users said that we don't start with booking hotels. We ask a friend, where did you go last time and how it was? And, a lot of their inspirations are from, koi to gaya tha Le, and, it was really good fun. The views were amazing. So that's why I want to go there, right? Or they hear stories about somebody doing bungee jumping somewhere, and they want to emulate that story. So they are not thinking about a destination. They are actually thinking about an experience or a story. So that's where we started, and we started making this travel app, which was depending upon how people get inspired to travel, right? And before you actually make the booking, there's a lot of stages to it. First, you have to decide to take a vacation, right? And how do you decide to take a vacation is by getting inspired from a story, getting inspired from somebody else's memoir to really, emulate that. So that's where we started. We said that this is going to be an inspiration platform for people who are still deciding to whether to go for a vacation or not. And then we started on, can we help you search for a plan? And that plan did not include just that, you start from Hyderabad, go to Goa, stay there for 4 days, and come back. So I can do your flights and your hotel. It was more about where you want to have lunch. Are you going to go by bike, or are you going to go by train? Which are the great chaiwalas there? Which is a beach that you should not miss, etc. So we started putting them on maps, and started creating travelogues out of those places. We also showed that what are other people's experiences, real people's experiences on those places. And all of this was, done through showing this prototype to a lot of those users. And these users started, putting in their not only inputs but ideas on what could go into the product. So we started doing this kind of a Quora kind of interface for bike riders. And they have very, very particular question that, I'm going to take 4 hours to drive from point A to point B, and it's a hilly road, so do you have a mechanic for this kind of a bike in that zone, right? And you can ask this question only to someone who's already been there. And a TripAdvisor or a Google Maps is not going to be able to give you that information. So, these people came up with these kind of suggestions or requirements or needs, and we were able to quickly put this together and show it to them. Does this work for you? And this is how this product was built. And all these, features came together and created this product. It is just about to get launched. The beta is already up on the App Store. It's called Dusty Roads. So this was about the culture of prototyping. So we created many prototypes for this app very, very fast. And the good thing with design is that you can, without actually building the product, you can quickly create these screens, show it to people, get their feedback, and then go ahead. The fourth story that I'm going to talk about is demonstrating value. So this is for an IoT client of ours, and they had a customer intern. And the client, this is industrial IoT, so they were collecting, this kind of data. So they were collecting data across a lot of, so they make battery chargers. And these battery chargers work at certain voltages. And this is the voltage graph of each kind of circuit in a particular location. And we started, looking at this and asking the users, what are you really looking at? And the CEO of the client's customer said that, I don't know, why don't you talk to my service engineer who's on the field? And the service engineer was actually looking at this graph and trying to see where the error is going to occur. And he has developed his own methodology to do that. So we learned that showing every data point possible is not actually going to help. And we started, completely re-looking at it from the other side, and we said that this guy is looking for errors. So why don't we just show errors and then drill down from there? So what happened over here was, since we started recognizing customer needs and demonstrating value to the CEO in terms of number of hours saved from this service engineer into recognizing the problem, it really gave us a lot of mileage in terms of getting the product right immediately. I'm a little short on time, so this is the last story that I'm going to take you through. And this is for an arcade game that we're working in. And I'm trying to cover, various kinds of domains. So this is a arcade. There's a huge arcade gaming industry in the US, right? And it's not just for kids. Kids also play games, but even 70-year-olds play arcade games in the US. And all our development team, the product design team, is here in India. And the idea was, whatever we were building didn't seem to really click in the market. So the idea here was to get the team there. So what we did was we actually transported the engineer, the product designers, even the game developers, mechanical engineers, the marketing people, and the sales people. All of them, we had an excursion there. We saw the entire industry of how games are made, how they are played, who is playing the games. And this was not just designers going there. Designers going and doing their research is common. But we took the entire team so that we could create empathy across the board. And therefore, now we are able to create successful products. So there's a huge change in how the team is thinking around this. So bias towards action is extremely important when we're looking at business agility driven by design thinking. So we need to have people acting rather than talking. And lastly, this is not a story, but there is a method to the madness. And in interest of time, I'll say that I'll talk to you about what the method is. It's very close to what somebody was saying in the morning. It is between chaos and bureaucracy that you have to balance, creative processes and agility. So focusing on process is extremely important for our team, and being transparent in terms of their progress, and encouraging everybody to reflect, learn from mistakes, and work with each other is important. So that's the last slide, and I think for me, being agile, above all, needs integrity and ownership. Agility does not have time for hidden agendas, and I see that this is, for me, has been the biggest block with whatever customers and clients where we've worked with. If people have agendas that are other than product goals or company vision, agility just breaks down, because people are trying to do things that are irrational, and the team cannot move faster. So you got to build a team that's in there for the purpose. They're not in there for the money. They're not in there for anything else. They're just in there for the purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Siddharth. That was pretty insightful. Thank you so much.